2024 is a wrap. It's officially behind us in the books, and what a year it was, especially for finds. Any of you guys that follow me, you know what I do. You've seen some of the crazy records that I found and passed on to you guys. But I got a little stack here, man. I'm gonna show you my favorite finds of last year, man. It was great. Now these aren't all just crazy grails, man. These are just ones that I personally like and stay on the turntable. Hope everybody had a great new year. And let's hope this year is better than last year. Let's jump right into it. First of all, I'm sorry it's been so long. I've been busy. Kids are getting older. I'm getting older. And the records keep falling into my lap. So that means I got work to do. Okay, first off, this one here is cheap heat. To me, anyway. Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. What you gonna do? You're probably thinking, is that a DJ single? Well, let me tell you something. I was born and raised in Georgia. I lived a lot around the metro Atlanta area. If you were in Atlanta in the early 2000s, say circa 2001 to 2005, you went through the crunk phase, and it was unbelievable. Now, as I've gotten older, I don't listen to rap music anymore, but I put stuff like this on, stuff that I have history with and memories with from when I was a younger man who made bad decisions, but it's really, really good stuff. And I mean, just look at that. That's what was going down. Does this even happen anymore in the clubs? I don't know. But I know rap today sucks. But man, this is great stuff. Okay, this one here is The Art of Yara Guller. Now, Yara Guller is a fantastic classical pianist. This is on that cool Nimbus, which is like a really good audiophile label. It's a nice 45 RPM. But dude, she plays Bach in particular. Unbelievable tone. Great feel and touch. Her early stuff, if you see her early stuff on like Deutsche Grammophon, I believe, fetches incredible. Or it might be Vanguard. But she put out a few really early, like late 1950s, I believe. Even like mid 50s where it was just mono, fetches really good money. Man, this is a beautiful recording. If you like classical and you see that Nimbus label, good quality stuff. But that stays on rotation. Okay, here's one I'd never heard before. It's one of those kind of things you just pick it up because I'm a jazz man. But this is the Umbria Jazz Festival. Now what makes this kind of unique is all these Italian artists, Rita Marcotulli, Pietro Tonolo. These are really well-known Italian jazz players. And this one was kind of unique because they came to North Carolina. They came to North Carolina and put on a show. And this is really spectacular jazz. They got some recordings that they did in Italy, which is still just as good, man. For some reason, man, they blow hard on this one. This is a really good one to have. Kind of tough to find though. There's a few for sale. Not gonna fetch you much. Okay, this one here. This might be okay. So this is one that's not on rotation because this song is awful. Okay, this is terrible, and it's James Brown. This is the worst James Brown has ever done. But I'm an Atlanta fan. I'm a Falcons fan, unfortunately. I know. Guys, give me a break. It's hard enough being a Falcons fan. Don't come at me in the comments. But this is James Brown, Atlanta Will Be Rockin'. Look at that. Now, this is in his later years. Was this like 1980, 1987? Not the best, but really hard to find. And Falcons. I gotta have it. Okay. This one here, oh my God, I wish I had an original of this. But for all you classical lovers, this, in my opinion, this is probably one of the best violin concertos I've ever heard. And this is Tchaikovsky's in D. Now, this is Ruggiero Ricci on the violin. Now, this was originally on Columbia. Or no, is it Decca? Is it UK? I think it's Columbia. I think this was originally pressed on Columbia or Decca. Anyway, that goes for like thousands of dollars. But this, and if you know, you already know. But for those that don't, when you see this London stereo, but it's got the blue back, what they call them blue backs, that means that this is essentially a this is essentially the same as the UK pressings. The blue backs were pressed earlier, and I'm probably butchering this, but it's pretty much the same pressing as the Columbia, which if you collect classical, it's top shelf, the sound quality. I've had some of those Columbia, those late 50s, early 60s Columbia stereo classical pressings. The sound quality is just unmatched, dude. And this is just a beautiful performance. I mean, the Dvorak violin, but man, Tchaikovsky, which I think is the only violin concerto he did, unbelievable. Extremely difficult. Rogerio Ricci absolutely nails it. There's a solo in there where the symphony stops and he is just playing for about 10 minutes, and it's beautiful. It's heavenly. It's magical. So if you see that, this is a hard one to find, but my God, if you see that, anything you see by Rogerio Ricci, if you like classical music, top shelf violin player. Okay, I was stoked to find this. I can't get it off my table. Bill Evans, Interplay. Original on Riverside, smoking clean. This is the only time Bill Evans had a full lineup. I mean, my goodness, Jim Hall, Philly Joe Jones, Percy Heath, Freddie Hubbard. This is the best. This is the best, in my opinion. This is the best of Bill Evans. Of course, his trio stuff is great, but man, this is just it's got it all. Freddie Hubbard blows. Jim Hall is. I mean, him and Bill Evans have done a few things together, and he's okay. He's okay. Philly Jones and the Sticks. Woo! Great one to have. And Riverside, you know, guys, Riverside sometimes is notorious for having not good recordings. Not this one, man. This one there is amazing. Okay. This is a cool one here. Shelly Mayne and his Men at the Black Hawk. This is volume 3. This came in a 4 LP volume. Really good. It's on it contemporary, but this one is like near mint. A little bluesy, but it has that West Coast, that good West Coast vibe to it. I've heard all 4. This one's up there with my favorite, but this one's just so incredibly clean that I had to keep it, and I spin it all the time, and it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old. The good thing about that jazz, it never, to me anyway, as many times as I play it, I always hear something different. And that's a good thing. Okay. Dude, I've been after this one for a long time. This is the Braveheart soundtrack. James Horner. Now, this is 2016. The movie came out in, 95? 94. What year did this movie come out? Because I know it was competing with 95. It came out in 95, which was a great year for movies. But if you haven't seen this movie, please crawl out of the rock you're hiding under. This is an amazing movie. Yeah, historically, it's people complain about the inaccuracies of it, but God, you got to make an entertaining movie, right? But the music is unbelievably gut-wrenching. It pulls, especially if you've seen it. Like if you listen to it and you haven't seen it, it's still good. But after watching the movie and then going back and listening to the music, man, dude, those scenes just pop back up in your head. The bagpipes, the melancholy of the strings. It's an unbelievable. Like the secret wedding where they get married, the battle scenes with the drums. I mean, just. This is amazing. I'm a sucker for movie soundtracks. This one is beautiful. It's really beautiful. Okay, more Bill Evans. Finally, everybody digs Bill Evans. Finally got a clean mono pressing. I mean, y'all all know this one. This is an incredible album. Probably top three Bill Evans. I'm gonna give Interplay 1. I'll say Sunday at the Vanguard, and then I'm gonna put this one as his third, as his best. This is just amazing, especially that song "Peace, Peace." I mean, this is that kind of, sit back. This is late night, dim lights, maybe an adult beverage, and you just relax. Top shelf Bill Evans. Okay, this is one I've never heard of this guy, but when I found it, obviously the cover drew me. Look at that, it's pretty cool. But his name is Lennie Niehaus. Niehaus? I don't know. But look at that, it's super clean. But it's like a West Coast. It's a West Coast vibe. You know, real fast. It's not slow. It's real upbeat. It's got that real contemporary, that kind of Art Pepper when he did all that stuff on contemporary. But this is a really, really tough one to find. This came out of a library. And it was covered in stickers. So I had to do a really nice job with the hair dryer, and a nice sharp knife, and got it right up. And man, this thing is really, really good. Okay, this one here is, you can get this one cheap, man, but this is, I've heard so much from this guy. It's Chet Baker, Baby Breeze. Man, this is so good. I think this is original 65 on Limelight. This is so good. He sings, he plays. Kenny Burrell makes an appearance on here. So good. There's also a few other guys. They'll say we got Kenny Burrell, Phil Urso on the sax. Yeah, my wife doesn't like it. When Chet goes to sing, she don't like it. I don't know. I like it. I think it's buttery smooth. And Chet is the man. God, he put out a ton of stuff. I had hit a collection probably about the same time last year. I had a bunch of Chet Baker 10 inches on Philips Jazz, I think. And I was like, But that was like 50, like they were early, man. They were like 1954, 1955. But this, man, bluesy, and it's got hard bop, it's fast, it's really, really good. Okay, I'd been after this one for a long time, and I've shown this in another video, but man, like I said, these are the best of last year. And this is near and dear to my heart because when I was a kid, my mom worked at a store called Video Tree. This is probably, 1987, 1988. And she worked there for a few years. And this movie here, even though I was a kid, this movie stayed in the VCR. This is Bloodsport. This is Paul Herzog. He did a few others. And this was originally released in Germany. So they didn't release this in America. If you've seen the movie, you know it's a guy's movie. It's great. I've tried to get my wife sitting down and watch. She don't like it. It's like, it's just sweaty, oily man, and they're fine. I was like, dude, that's what we want. That's what we want. It's really good, all the way through. Every song I see, this is one of those ones when you're listening to it, it's like you're watching the movie in your head. And I play it all the way through. It's a great one. Kind of tough to track down. I don't think there's many or any in for sale in the United States. All right, last four. This one here is a common one, but this is finally a keeper for me. I've come across this record countless times, but this one is by far the cleanest. Pink Floyd, The Wall. It's got the sticker on it. Do I even need to say anything? No, I don't. Okay, this one here, woo! I had a US pressing of this band's first album. And I listened to it because I was like, it was so clean. I wanted to keep it. They're originally out of the UK. And I listened to it, and it was okay. But this is I think this is their second release. And dude, it is way better, in my opinion. Tell me what you guys think. But this is Budgie, whatever you want to call them. Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. The original UK pressing. That thing is minty. So good. This is really good. I went down to Perry, Georgia a couple of days ago, and this guy had a bunch of records in his garage, posted it on Facebook. I was like, okay. So I drove down, checked him out. And while I was there, he's like, man, I met this guy who has this, has a bunch of records in his garage. You want to come check it out with me? I actually did a little video on Instagram, dude. He had like $10,000 speakers, Marantz, receivers. It was amazing. He had like, it was unbelievable. He was a retired fighter pilot, a jet fighter pilot, and he had like 10 sealed copies of Motley Crue, Girls, sealed copies of Poison. They just, you know, and it was amazing. So he was trying to sell the collection as whole, but you know, he let me and him pick, and it was great. And this was one of them, and I love it. It sounds so good. Okay, this one here, man, we don't need to talk a whole lot about this one. You guys know what it is. It's Skynyrd. First pressing on Songs of the South. Look at that thing. Woo! Finally, a forever copy of this seminal Southern rock band. Right there, that's Jonesboro. That's, you know, I was in and out of that area most of my whole life. I've lived that way. I've lived down the road that way. I lived down the road that way. I don't need to say anything else. Finally happy to have this forever copy. I ain't stopped spinning it since I got it. All right, last one. This is my favorite find of last year. I've been after a copy of this for a long time, but they're usually beat to death, especially the covers. Alice Coltrane, Pata de El Duaridid, whatever it is. Man, this thing is stunning. It's got the hype sticker, Joe Henderson, Pharoah Sanders. It doesn't get too free jazzy. It's right in that meaty part that I like of bluesy, a little hard bop, a little free avant-garde. There's a reason this thing is so sought after. It is magical. This is a magical recording, and I'm just stoked. It's usually, even the backs usually always have ring wear. But man, this thing is just, it's so beautiful. Perfect. That look as the record ends, guys. Sorry it took so long. You know I'm ripping and roaring. I will be back. I'm always digging, and we'll see you next time.